Again, my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. I've had the pleasure and honor of meeting her actually in person earlier on this year. I'm delighted to introduce Cindy Novotny, who's our next speaker and joining us via Zoom. She's called the Radical Mentor, Consultant, Speaker, Author, Executive Coach, and is the Managing Partner for Master Connection Associates. It's a bit of a longer introduction, but you'll know when you hear her why. They call her the Radical Mentor for a reason. She never stops. She says it like it is, and throughout all the ups and downs of the crazy hospitality and events business, she was a light of positivity who helped many people not only survive, but thrive. As the founder of Master Connection Associates, Cindy is an icon in the hospitality and travel industry. Her specialties are leadership, sales, and customer service excellence. She's a force to be reckoned with and brings a stage alive with energy and passion. And I can totally vouch for it. I was in a session that she took in person in January earlier this year. Her exposure is vast, including luxury hotels, events, automotive, and real estate. Energy, passion, and drive guarantee Cindy's message will captivate each person in her audience. Her targeted message and popularity have no boundaries as she addresses groups across the world. A lot of my colleagues sitting here from Preferred actually have met Cindy and have been through this session, so I'm sure they'll say the same thing. Her charisma and humor combined with in-depth knowledge leaves the audience with reality-based skills and actionable items. Having traveled 10 million times, the term road warrior may have been coined about Cindy, actually. She has worked with executives all over the world, helping them adjust their focus, improve their teams, and enhance service delivery and sales. Having logged those 10 million miles, Cindy loves the smell of jet fuel in the morning. With her case packed, she's ready to embark on her next journey. I can tell you Cindy is very rich. We heard it's the second biggest currency in the world after US dollars. Fun fact about Cindy, she started her career in hospitality, running nightclubs in Chicago and actually singing in those clubs. Cindy is going to talk about how to stay relevant in sales today with a new mindset about innovation and technology. Please welcome Cindy, who's joining us through Zoom. Hi, Cindy.
Hello, thank you. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please. And thank you for your patience and waiting it out. We were busy taking a big group photograph.
Oh, no, I saw it. I loved all those smiles and all that energy. It was fabulous. I wish I was there.
Great, great. Good to have you with us in virtual format. Thank you, Cindy.
Yes,
over to you.
Thank you. Okay, and I really am excited. I'm actually in the middle of the U.S. on my cattle farm in Iowa. So we are really hoping that the bandwidth works, but I think you can hear me, and then the team's going to run my slides. So I appreciate it, all of you. I want everyone to know that my whole foundation of this industry and staying very relevant in this industry, because I own a restaurant in Southern California and I live on the road with all the hotels all over the world, been in India working. So, I mean, I love the fact that inspiration, innovation, and being adaptable in our industry is something we've been doing forever. One of the things, though, that hasn't changed in a long time is the fact that a lot of things are put forth and then very few people actually do it. So as I'll go to the next slide, I want you to think about the fact that our industry has always been very creative on the culinary side, on trying to track guest preferences, but now it does require a blend. And, I'm talking to people that understand technology and AI very well, but I will tell you that if you honestly think about it, we still, in our industry, are not making it that easy for people to do business with us. So we have all these global networks of hotels. We have all these different distribution systems. We have so many different types of global innovations popping up that we sometimes get lost in this commercial whirlwind. And this is a commercial strategy event that we're at right now. Selling is always going to be forefront, always. And I will tell you that technology and AI are not going to replace what I call H to H, human to human, because that's what a hotel's all about. That's what a restaurant's all about. Now, we can use all that technology as a tool and a resource, But I do believe as a commercial team, the silos, the sales, the marketing, the revenue, and let's not forget reservations. They're not call centers anymore. I do training not only in hospitality, but as mentioned, in retail banking and in wealth management and banking. The call centers in India and in the Philippines, where we train thousands of people handling these calls. They literally are the voice of the customer every day, more so than the relationship manager on the ground in London or New York City. So I always say, don't fall victim to these flashy trends. Integrate everything you're talking about during this conference into what does this have to do on the customer? How can we make it easier for the customer to do business with us? So vitally important. So next slide. Think about the fact that I love the fact that innovation is really nothing without client knowledge. Nothing. Because technology without knowing your customer is just a bunch of stuff we think. So whatever we put in, whatever we measure is all about us, not them. I know because I have flown 10 million miles and I'm global service for life on United. So, I pretend it's my private jet. I know that their ability with technology to track me. So when I land and I'm running late on a flight and I'm landing in Chicago or I'm landing in London, they're waiting right at that jet bridge, but not outside, down where the plane comes in on the tarmac. They greet me right as I walk off that plane, walk me down those stairs. And yeah, this is a privilege that I've earned after 10 million miles. And they put me into a car and drive me to my next plane. Innovation is all about this. They're tracking the flight. They're tracking me. Sometimes they're tracking my husband and they've picked him up first. He's waiting in the car because he came in from somewhere else. Now, if that didn't matter to me, that would be a waste of time, because there are some people that would be like, yeah, I don't want the fuss. I want the fuss. So they have to know the client knowledge. Now, sustainability. This is a big part of what innovation is today in our world. And this is also something that is almost a little bit comical, because depending on the client, they may not care about the sustainable practices you have in place unless you understand their sustainable practices. So when you're looking at key accounts, for those of you that are many of you are in the BT world, business travel and corporate travel, and people coming in from all over the world into your cities, sustainability is what matters to the customer. And so when you look at all your key accounts and you map out these accounts, and I hope you are, and if you're not, you need to, and you look at their websites, some are all about DE&I and sustainability, and some don't mention it at all. And then sustainability means things like, we don't want to see wasted food. So big buffets that many cultures have done forever and ever and ever, right? So, I think about the Lebanese culture, which is what my dad's family was from. If the buffets weren't overwhelming with overwhelming food, oh, this wasn't good. Well, now many of those clients that I'm working with in the Middle East say, we don't want that. We don't want to show a lot of waste. So think about what sustainability is as it relates to your client. This is innovative. And then unique offerings. You have marketing sitting back, creating all these unbelievable stories and marketing schemes. And then how are they pitched? How are they really presented? So I always say marketing creates the story. Sales has to sell the story. Those two have to be in alignment. So without them, you're not adaptable and the success is not the same. So let's go to the next slide. So taking adaptability. It is sad, the lack of responsiveness clients are getting today, because everyone's overwhelmed. Everyone's too busy. Everyone has a lot going on. This doesn't work anymore, because right now I'm talking to all of you completely around the world. I'm sitting on a farm in Iowa and we're making it happen. It's 6 a.m., 6:25 a.m. my time on a Friday morning. I'm making it happen. So the fact that people don't get back to people quick enough is going to lose this business. Again, I want you to remember one thing I keep saying: make it easier for the customer to do business with you. Technology will not replace that personal touch, that personal offering. It can help write a proposal. ChatGPT can help write the proposal, but you've got to go in and personalize it. Then we have to train our employees. So the upselling training that we do at all these luxury hotels for the front desk, it's really difficult when the rates are already the highest in the entire destination. And then we have to try to get them to sell more. Well, think about the fact that if you know what the customer is looking for, if we've asked the right questions at the beginning, if reservations turns it over to front office better, we can then sell better. So no more feature dumping, feature selling, understanding what the customer really wants and positioning the entire sales process to that customer's needs. Market trend knowledge. The world is a funny place right now. Okay. All we have to do is watch the news. You have to provide insights. So as an example, I got off a call yesterday with Nestle's food, chocolate, the whole deal. And they are cutting their meetings by about 40%. So I was on with a hotel salesperson. I was doing coaching with that person. So they thought I just was with the hotel. And the salesperson didn't say anything except, oh. So I said, because I'm with her on the call, why are you cutting your meetings by 40%? Logical question. And they then began. There's some mergers and acquisitions going on. They're replacing some different offices. They're moving some offices, which, by the way, for this particular hotel company was good news because they have other hotels where they're moving. I got off the call with the salesperson and I said, were you just going to leave it at, oh? She goes, well, I just think it's very intrusive. It's not very polite to ask why. I said, it's all over the news. It's all over the news what they're doing. Do you watch the news? Now, this is where, again, I'm sure I'm talking to a group of people. We've got people in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, maybe some people in the 70s for sure. I'm going to tell you right now, you got to watch the news. You have to know what's going on. You have to look at the business news. You have to pay attention. So let's go to the next slide. So you're having a lot of sessions on, AI and things like that. But I wanted to show you one. I work with Angela DeVoe with Wedlocks, and she's working. We work with a lot of hotels together. And I love some of these ideas because when we're looking at how to put together a really cool food and beverage presentation, because remember, sales is not just rooms. It is the total revenue of everything we're doing. That's what it is. Total revenues per square meter. Okay. Like we got to make money everywhere. And we know in catering, we make more profit than we do in the restaurants. So when you think about all the tools, we took one of the pictures of the cake right there, the blue one in the middle. That was one of her personal plates from her home. And we took a picture of that and we put it into Midjourney, which is a, AI tool that I'm sure you're all using. And we said, create some cake ideas around that plate. And we got over 100. Now, that quick, we were able to send those to the client. Now, do you know how long it would have taken a pastry chef to figure that out? And by the way, they can make the cake. They can make the cake. I always say to people, we can give you every recipe in the world, but it depends how you make it. So everyone's got the same tools now. Everyone can go to market that much faster. But the idea is, how are you using it? It is not cut and paste. It is, what did the customer want? They wanted this French looking kind of delve blue. They gave a lot of examples. To sit around and have someone draw that would have taken money and time. This took literally 5 minutes. So let's go to the next slide. This was another one, Sicilian style. Okay. Go back to Sicilian style real quick. That was another one. This is all done with AI. And we did this for a proposal. And that is another example of when a salesperson is going to market and they are showing boring pictures of meeting space with nobody in it. They're showing bedrooms with nobody in it. Like No. We have to get more creative on how we go to market from a commercial standpoint. Okay, now you can move to the next slide. So embracing this is not hard for any of us, but I laugh when I say that because half of the salespeople can't even get things into Salesforce right. Okay, it was already a problem with Delphi and then Salesforce. So it is fast and furious. This rapid technological change and advancements without training doesn't work. We have to be thoughtful, and we have to remember that if it's all about technology, where are we? Where are we? It is not all about technology. Marketing has to understand what the customers of today want from my particular hotel or destination. They can't make it up on their own. They can't come right out of university and say, well, I know how to do this. No, you can't if we haven't done focus groups, if we haven't talked to the customers. We have to be thoughtful in our outreach. So human to human, how we communicate, personal presentations, site visits, virtual reality tours. Again, many people are not going on site visits and traveling all the way to India or all the way to Rome or all the way to New York to look at a hotel anymore, but they don't just want to see standard pictures. So another example I want to give you is Four Seasons Madrid. I was at Four Seasons Madrid in the fall of last year, working with the catering team. And we got an inquiry for 150 Chinese coming in to Madrid, to the Four Seasons for 3 days of meetings. They wanted breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all different menus for the 3 days, all Chinese menus made only with Spanish ingredients. Now, those of you that have come from a catering or event side or sales, you know exactly the drama that went on. So what you can imagine, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? The chef's going to go crazy. How are we going to, I mean, it would have been days and days and days. So I went on to ChatGPT, because I pay my $20 extra for my smarter robot, I guess. I don't even know where I call him Robbie because he's somewhere up in the sky. And I said, Robbie, I need 3 menus for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days, different menus, Chinese menus made only with Spanish ingredients. Took about 20, 25 minutes, and that little doc goes along. Up came the menus. The chef said, that's great. I need to know how to make them. I said, hold on. And I went back and asked my little Robbie, I need the recipes with European measurement because my robot knows that I'm American. So I said, I need it with European measurement. Sure enough, ... There we go. Bingo, right? The director of food and beverage said, I need to know where to procure it. I went back in to find all the suppliers in Madrid only. That took another 30 minutes. What would have taken days and possibly a week for a whole food and beverage catering event team to put that together took less than an hour and a half. So when I say technology, I'm not talking about all the revenue management side of it. You're all going to talk about that. I'm talking about how to use it to help salespeople go to market faster and how to be that much more clever than our competition might be. So let's go to the next slide. So I think that, paying attention to what is happening in this latter part of 2024 is important. Okay, we've got the Olympics kicking off. We've got the US that's having their fun moments over here. The whole world has a lot to chat about, but it's never been more important to be focused. The world is changing faster than I think I've ever seen it change in my entire time being in this industry. To stay current is more important than just being the smartest person in the room. Current. It's about being consciously competent. You see, there's a lot of us that have been doing this a long time in hotel sales and marketing and revenue and reservations, right? And we just go through the motions because we've got it. We've been doing it a long time. It's those of us that are willing to learn, being at a whole meeting like this, a whole conference like this, open minds, trying to say, well, maybe that's not how it hits. Maybe that's a new way. We've always done it this way. Unconsciously competent is not a good thing. Consciously competent is really good. So don't lose sight of all the opportunities out there because quite frankly, it is a brand new day. And all it takes is people that have the gusto, the grit to be able to challenge that status quo. Next slide. So I'd like all of you, when you leave this conference, to have a plan. I'd like you to think about what sales skills do you really want to make sure your entire team has, from reservations, because they sell. Every single call is an opportunity to upsell and sell. To sales, catering, events, front office, anybody working in a restaurant. We should not just be taking the order. We should be selling a better bottle of wine, selling a better dessert. So make a plan as the commercial head of your hotel or group of hotels to go back and say, all right, let's look at truly top line revenue. Truly, not just on a spreadsheet, not just in a big meeting so we can give it to owners, but really let's look at it. And let's figure out every place within that hotel, the spa, that we can make more money. We have to get a little bit down and dirty to what the business is all about. I think sometimes we strategize ourselves into an abyss, like where we don't even understand what we're trying to do. So really go back as a commercial leader and say, I want to make sure we know every single place to make money in this hotel. That's how you start off fresh every year. And that's how every single employee in the hotel will think. And that's the journey. When every single associate comes to work every day and doesn't just punch in to do a job, but they come to help us build a business, there's a totally different mindset. Remember, we are not in the hospitality industry. We are in the hospitality profession. And I think we lose sight of that. And the profession needs to make money. So let's go to the next slide. So new business development, as you can see, I'm passionate about sales because that's what makes the world go round. Okay. People say, well, I don't know. We've got to have this first, that first. I don't care. Build it and they will come. Doesn't work. Hasn't worked for a long time. We have to fill it. So think about new business development. The opportunity to constantly reinvent yourself, your entire organization, your future, the business is to get out of the silos. So we think everybody the last 3 or 4 years went into commercial. I'm the VP of commercial. We now have commercial teams, the word commercial. Well, commercial has been a word that's been in every industry that I've worked in other than hospitality for a very long time. But in hotels, we've got those silos, revenue management, who then argues with sales. I need this. Well, we don't want to do that. This is the forecast. Well, I've got a client that can bring us in, $4 million worth of business. I need a room. This is like, what are we still doing? We have to commercially look at what this business is all about. We have to look at reservations, sales, catering, and focus on that new business that I've been talking about. So we'll go to the next slide. Now, to do that, we have to connect to clients. So I find that the front desk is one of the best places to find everything that's going on with the clients. Salespeople work very difficultly to get through to a C-level, but the front desk checks in the C-level. If you have a concierge club or you have any VIP, areas, they connect. But do you know how little time we then connect? So you have to think about what does the front desk talk to some of these customers about? They get into conversations, people that work in banquets. They hear what's going on. They hear what the problems are, what's keeping these people up at night, what do they need to be successful? So you combine all of this information and we move away from just taking inquiries or booking a piece of business, and we really learn how we can recommend solutions. So another example, a couple of weeks ago, I was in a select service hotel. I was actually checking in, and next to me was another gentleman checking in from a healthcare company. And I'm not nosy, I'm just curious. So I listened to all the interaction. And he happened to be a VP of business development for this pharmaceutical healthcare company. And the person at the front desk was very engaging, talking, saying they were so excited to see them coming back. The front desk person knew that they had stayed with them before COVID, but they hadn't been back since COVID. They got into a really nice, engaging business type of conversation. As that person left, I said to the front desk, I want to give you great feedback. You gathered a lot of information. Now, what are you going to do with that information? Because he found out they'd moved their offices. It was in DC to the Dulles area. He found all this out. He goes, well, what do you mean? What am I going to do with all this information? I said, I need you while it's fresh in your head. Check me in. We'll wait, checking me in. I want you to write it all down. Write everything down that gentleman just told you. And I want you to give it to the salesperson, the business travel manager that handles that account. He went, Wow. So then I met with the GM. I said, why aren't we doing this on a regular basis? And why don't we give a little incentive or something to a guy at the front desk that went way beyond, what's your name? Do you have your ID? Let me see your passport. Way beyond, because we are building relationships. We are not building transactions. And that is so much bigger than some of the things we talk about in some commercial meetings I'm in. So next slide. So I want you to be deliberate as you go through this conference and you continue to talk and meet. If any conversation you are having at this conference does not talk about the end user, does not talk about the booker, does not talk about a guest, then you say, stop. What does that have to do with the customer? Stop. What does that have to do with the customer? 84% of business decisions start with a referral. In group biases, people make decisions based on what their friends tell them. So you have to listen to these people, but the salespeople can't do all the listening. Reservations is the same thing. They learn a lot, but how often do they really share it? Really share it with the salespeople that have to go back in and make sales calls. The more curious you are, the more in front of your customers that you are, the more business you'll make. And let's face it, that's why we're in business. That's what we're doing. We are in business to make money. That's it. We are in business to make money. We take care of the guest. We provide great service. We do all that to have a commercial strategy that shows a profit. Next slide. So keep in mind that the more proactive you are, the better it is. Proactive sales and marketing brings in 10 times more profit and 10 times more client loyalty. And that's a fact. If you look into it, anybody that is proactive, any group of people that are outreaching to clients, not calling clients after we've had a mistake to say, I'm sorry, but calling clients proactively. I was thinking about you, wanted to check in with you, that have good proactive marketing, make that much more money. Next slide. I really thank you. You're a good slide mover. This is really good. So it is all B2B and B2C, but it's really H to H. You have to be relevant, you have to be present, and you've got to be ready to tackle. I don't want to see salespeople that are on business travel saying, you know what, I'm traveling on business, therefore I have limited access to voicemail and email, when we can get that all on a plane. You can say I'm traveling on business. There may be times I won't be able to get right back to you, but you can talk to this person in my office, or if you give me an hour or two, I'll call you right after I land. Proactive, not just the normal out of office we put. Now, when you're on holiday, fair enough. You can say you're on holiday and you don't have to do your work, but we don't think is proactive as a salesperson working in pharmaceutical or a salesperson working in automotive that is working on straight commission, because we've never had to think that way. And this is where I want us to just switch the mindset to what commercial really is all about. Next slide. So I hope I'm giving you a different perspective. You have so many subject matter experts that are there, great speakers that are talking. I come from a side of hard grit selling. Truly build it and they will come doesn't work. But I say don't lose momentum. Anything in motion stays in motion, right? Keep it going. Leverage all of your platforms from social media. We have salespeople and catering managers that literally are scared to put anything on because marketing has scared them so much. Come on, everybody. Give the salespeople the tools they need. Post every day something new, and marketing can give them what to post if you're worried that they won't post the right stuff. But they've got to post it on their own Instagram. They've got to post it on their own social platforms, because people buy from people. These sort of calls, this Zoom meeting that I'm calling in today, this is the standard operating way anybody makes a sales call today, even when you're in your same city, because nobody's getting in an Uber in a car and driving an hour in traffic to come see you anymore. So sometimes these calls, this brings us so much closer to our customers than we've ever had in the past. I mean, it's about the only good thing that came out of COVID. I will say that. That's the only thing. And then touch points. Work together, marketing and sales, so we have relevant touch points. What are we going to market with? How are we exciting people? How are we grabbing their attention? And make sure the sales leaders that are here today go back to their teams and create how many touch points you want to see a week. My team has to make 100 touch points a week. Now, that's not just like random sales calls. Those are touch points. They can be social media, they can be touch points, but go back and make sure that you are on that right track. Next slide. Think about your storytelling. Marketing, it's all about storytelling, right? But you create these stories. Have you heard your salespeople pitch them? Some are great, some are not. Storytelling should inspire and entertain. But then I hear a salesperson just rattling off square meters. We don't want to hear that. So as a team, work together. Marketing should sit down and say, here's our story. This is how we're going to go to market for the pharma market, for the technology market, for the insurance market, for the leisure market. Let's practice our storytelling. This is where marketing and sales can work very well together. That's the commercial direction. That's the commercial strategy. Next slide. Because today you have to stand out. There's too much of us. There's too much stuff. There's too many hotels. And there's all the other unique offerings. There's all the different Airbnbs. And if they're not Airbnbs, they're named something else. And people that rent out their villas for celebrities. So we have to make sure that our teams that work for us have the motivation to be different, that they have the innovation and the persistence to fight for the business they deserve. But they've got to be trained to do that. Next slide. So I think that no matter what goes on in this entire world of, wow, upside down, in and out, and crazy, right? You got to refocus. Coming back from a commercial strategy meeting like this, refocus, dig in, roll up your sleeves. Let's start over. Let's look at a few things. Let's retool our people. Are they using our technology right? Let's come out of the trenches. Let's rebound. Let's make sure people are connecting with customers. Let's make sure we are proactive, less reactive. Next slide. Because that's what customers buy. They buy that their expectations are not met, but exceeded. So when I get back to people, and I answer all info@masterconnection.com. No one believes me, but I do. And the reason I answer it is I have my phone with me. I'm on the road. I'm traveling everywhere. And I don't do a whole proposal. I just say, thanks so much for reaching out. I'm thrilled you thought of us. I've copied Shelley Marlowe or Jessica Baker or Carla Michael from my team. What is a good time today or tomorrow for the two of you to connect? I get a response that quick. And the first line always, and I can go back, anybody that wants to challenge me, give me a call and I'll show you. I can go back and show you the first line. The first line is impressive. Thanks for the immediate response. Impressive, because they're so used to people waiting days to get back to them. Days. I'm so sorry for our tardiness. We've been so busy. The customer doesn't care. Effective communication means we know the needs of the customer and we communicate that with operations. That is the only way you can exceed expectations. Next slide. So it all starts here, my friends. All right. Again, we have platforms, marketing sets it all up, but the people that are selling, sales and reservations, authenticity, that customer experience starts from the first inquiry, whether it's online, whether it's coming, whatever booking channel it's coming through, it starts with us. The evolution of well-being. Clients want less pressure. Think about it. Well-being is everybody talks about it. That's why all kinds of trips, spas, and well-being, it's all it. But it's frustrating to a customer when they're trying to book something and there's just so much pressure because, well, I don't know who to give you. Do you have 25 people or 30 people? Or we interrogate them instead of just saying, hey, I can help you, right? Customers' expectations are high. We want a relaxed and easy process, easy feel during the sales process. Because, as Forbes says, true luxury is really that emotional connection. That is what it's all about. And luxury doesn't mean just 5-star hotels. No. Luxury is a select service hotel where a person at the front desk asks a lot of questions. That's what luxury is about. Next slide. So leverage all of your technology, leverage ChatGPT, but leverage it to be a resource to help you save time and lead to higher sales. Do not, whatever you do, let it replace. Absolutely make sure you are leveraging all of that. Next slide. Keep in mind, I said you got to pay attention to the news. So revenue management needs to keep us abreast of what's going on. What are we seeing in the marketplace? What are we seeing on pricing? Why are we doing this? Why did we just change these prices to this? What are we doing? How many times do we see a new hotel open with these unbelievable rates? And after 3-4 months, boom, we're dropping them. Why did we do that? It sends the wrong message. How are we upselling? How are we enhancing our luxury service? Remember, luxury is not 5-star hotels. Luxury is select service. Luxury is a 3, a 4, a 5-star hotel. Luxury means you return my calls, you get back to me, I call down. That's luxury. Creating new ideas and trends. Customers need insights. Tell them, what are you seeing in food and beverage? What are some of the fun, cool things that you're seeing? What can we do differently? That is what they want to see. And information is the key, and you have the ability to do that. Next slide. So as I start to leave and wrap this up, remember, focusing anything that you're talking about with AI should be about versatility also for sales. How do we generate more leads? How do we have better outreach? How can we create better content? Just like I showed you, why are we looking at pictures that are 5-6 years old? Why do we have proposals that look like they're a template off of a Word document? We can't do this anymore. We have to have that connectivity that shows we are ahead of the game. We can't just talk about it. Next slide. So think about those unique offerings. Every single time we see something sent out that does not look incredible, step in. Marketing. When was the last time you actually looked at some of the proposals that are being sent out? Personalized experiences. You create. I know marketing creates a lot of unbelievable things. When was the last time you saw the spa pitch it? When's the last time you saw a concierge pitch it? Unique experiences really lead to repeat business. Word of mouth. What processes do we have in place to make sure that the front office, spa, reservations, concierge shares that? No more form proposals. Everything in today's world should be creative and should stand out. The light bulb. Next slide. Remember to be adaptable. Be agile. Look at your processes. Make it easier for people to do business with you. Don't make the inquiry, because people do still call. We get a lot online, I know, but even online, don't just shoot off a proposal when you haven't tried to get them on the phone, because we don't even really know everything about a client. But don't make it so hard. Don't make them fill out 12 questions before you're ever going to talk to them. Okay? We're not that special. They can call somebody else who says, why don't we just jump on a quick call? I'll send you a link for a Teams or a Zoom. Make it easy for people to do business with us all the time. Next slide. And that is the responsiveness. It is number one, the most important thing. When we work with Cvent, when we work with all the other booking engines that we work with and all the travel advisors and all the meeting planners, the number one thing they say is the first responders win. They win. You don't have to always send a full-blown proposal in 24 hours, but you have to immediately respond. Next slide. And to do that, you got to train these people. So you're at a conference learning so much stuff. So go back and sit down. I've given you these training tips. Marketing, when's the last time you saw that? Sales leaders, when's the last time you looked at that? The market segments, they're changing. Pharmaceutical, medical, healthcare, technology. Understand the buying motives, what is going on within your client's business, and then have the ability to train everyone in the hotel for that upselling and how to communicate, just like that gentleman at the front desk of a select service hotel. Next slide. Don't think you can sit in a vacuum and know all the trends, because, by the way, they change like this. Data, market insights drive business decisions. Have focus groups, set up strategic meetings. We know that strategic salespeople challenge the status quo. Do not think that we're just going to say, here's the rates, you've got to live with it. No, I'm going to tell you right now, we got to steal market share. To move this needle, I need to do this, this, and this. I'm going to put them on a sliding scale. I'm going to work this way. I'm going to have a sign a contract. I'm going to get paid up front. Look at different ways to do business, just like all these other industries do. And that will help you stay informed about some of these emerging trends. Next slide. So I leave you with this. Pay attention. Have fun, but pay attention. Challenge the status quo. I love to say why. Why do we have to do that? Why not? Don't settle. No one should settle. Even with owners, when I'm in owner meetings, I'm like, why are you asking us to do that when that doesn't meet what the customer wants? And I get a lot of pushback, but I keep going. Be curious, don't settle, and have a great rest of your meeting. Next slide. This is how you can follow me. DM me anytime, day or night. I do answer. Stay connected with me. I love seeing all of you when the picture was being taken. I just loved, and then I love settle down, settle down. And if you don't settle down, we'll put the spotlight on you. I'm putting the spotlight on all of you. Keep in touch, and thank you for inviting me to talk. Thank you.